Hello walkers, and welcome back to City Walks, the channel where I take you around and show you interesting things and places, oftentimes discovering them with you. Today we are back in Montana, and we're back in Bozeman, Montana. We're going to start off at the Museum of the Rockies, and the farm I just showed you is the Tinsley Farm. It's a living history display, May to September. And I'll give you another view here in a second. And they have people in period costume from the 1860s, 1870s, gardening, cooking, blacksmithing, that sort of thing. It's a really cool display, and it's part of the admission to the museum. They used to have some livestock around, but I'm not sure they're doing that still. It is a beautiful day here today in Bozeman, Montana. 57 degrees Fahrenheit, 14 degrees Celsius, and it is getting on towards the end of June, and that's just not that unusual for here. It could be 100 in a month, and what was I going to say? We had an all-day rain yesterday. That's why I'm doing this walk a little bit later. This is Big Mike. So the museum, it's a sculpture representation of a Tyrannosaurus Rex sculpture. Museum of the Rockies is an awesome museum if you're here in Bozeman. Great place to bring the family, not just for kids, but for adults. And they have rotating displays, as well as they are one of the two, I think, registered places to store dinosaur bones. Montana has a lot of paleontological sites. I can't believe I said that right. And this is a major center for dino restoration and storage. A really cool display in there that's permanent about that. And then, of course, other things about the region, sometimes some traveling shows, some history stuff, local history, such as the Tinsley House. We're looking north at the Bridger Mountains, and you may be able to make out a white M over there. We're gonna head back into the South Side neighborhood and explore a little bit here today. Maybe make our way over to Montana State University campus, which is basically the other side of the road here, which is Kagi. And you can see they've got overflow parking here for RVs and bigger rigs if that's how you're traveling. Otherwise, they've got a lot of other parking. It's about 12:30 this afternoon. It's on a Monday, and so it's not particularly busy. It can get quite busy later in the summer, and especially on weekends. I think they're running a camp as well, a kids camp over there. I'm not going to really cover that. I'm going to try and find a walking path that should be accessible. I have to say, for all the accessibility options of the museum, they do a pretty good job. The entranceway is a bit of what's called a strode. It's kind of a street and a road, but not for pedestrian use. I want to thank our Patreon supporters today. Just got a new Patreon supporter, somebody that's been watching this channel for years and finally had the ability to contribute a little bit, and I appreciate that. It's certainly not necessary, but it certainly also helps me make these videos, so thank you. To everybody that's done that, as well as the Ko-fi, K-O-F-I, and one-time PayPal donations. Thank you. Here we can get up to a sidewalk. That ridge, the near ridge there, is Pete's Hill. I've walked there before, got quite a few walks. In fact, here in Bozeman, in fact, I walked about a month and a half, 2 months ago in spring weather. Now we're in June, and it is in the middle of green up, and it is quite green, quite beautiful. And you probably can't make out it, but yesterday we had a ton of rain and cold temperatures, and you've got snow on these lower peaks. It'll be going soon, but that's just the way it goes out here. They say to expect snow anytime between July 5th and July 4th. So this is the Galligator Trail, and that's what I'm hoping to find going the other direction. I don't know if it's complete, but at one point they were trying to stretch this all the way up to the mountains over there, and it does go over to Main Street. I just got to find the connection, which should be over there, and I just have to get over Kagi, which is a bit of an obstacle here. And this is 3rd as we're the intersection. Okay, that only took about a 5-minute wait. I'm gonna swing this camera around to face me real quick, so hold on to your handlebars. Hi there, my name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide, your co-discoverer. I say co-discoverer because oftentimes I'm finding out things about the same time as you are. So let's get after it. Hold on, I'm gonna flip you around again. I have been trying to speak less on these, not completely empty, because I do like to communicate with people. Interacting with you guys is one of the joys of this channel, making these. So I am gonna, once I get on this trail and point out this funny car here, I will let us enjoy the walk a little bit. This car seems to be partially license plate, straps, and maybe some duct tape. Seen better days. Hopefully those folks can afford to get their stuff fixed. Look at these awesome wildflowers here. The lots here on the right and the left are enormous for Bozeman. A lot of the lots tend to be smaller out here in the west, I think. You can see the deer fencing, keep the garden protected. It's not unusual to get deer, of course, but also bears in Bozeman and other critters. It's not usual either. I mean, there's not just running around everywhere, but they do come into town from time to time. And I think last week they had a black bear sighting in town. They don't stick around for long because it's not safe for them, obviously. But they get drawn in by, I think they follow the creek beds in, and then they get trash and all sorts of lovely, smelly delights until they get harassed out of town. I guess that's Wilson over there to the right. Love hearing all these birds. I used to feed birds in my backyard over in Livingston, but there's so many cats in our neighborhood that they were kind of getting hammered, the birds were, and I stopped. All right, this is kind of neat. They have a leash lending program here. Nothing out there right now, but keep your dog on its leashed. Excuse me. The trail continues on kind of straight that way. We're going to make a left and go over into this neighborhood adjacent to the university campus. Looks like some people are doing some tree trimming off to the right. And I'll call out the street we're on as soon as I see the sign up here. We're gonna go up to Grand. Looks like we're on Lincoln, Grand and Lincoln. So the streets that run parallel to this down towards downtown are named primarily for presidents, I think, and other national figures. In any case, and then Grand would go all the way downtown. I love some of these old, they're not, I guess they're older than they used to be, mid-century modern style homes. These low roofs, low pitched roofs, and just kind of, they're sprawly houses, but I don't know, they're kind of neat. We have some friends over in Livingston who have one, and they've really done a nice job of modernizing it and leveraging the aesthetic. Coming up on Grant. So if you look down there into this tree, you can see where the Galligator Trail picks up again. Follows the sidewalk for a bit and then picks up down there. We're going to continue on down Grand. Pardon me. It's funny to me, I've lived in this area for 22 years now, nearly, and it's not like I've spent that time all in Bozeman, but I spent a fair amount of time in Bozeman and over in this area. I've driven a lot of these streets, but I find new streets. Lincoln, that section of Lincoln was new to me. And seeing some of these houses, some of which have been redone, some of which have not, like this cabin up here is kind of neat. Of course, I guess they could have moved it. These things, they can disassemble them and remove and reassemble them. This is Hayes that we're crossing. It's kind of neat. This place. Hi there. Love it. All right, up here on Garfield, I think, is where we're gonna make our left. I could be wrong about that. I am wrong. We're gonna go 2 more blocks. There is a fair amount of student housing in here. Also, a lot of families still live here. I've talked often about housing prices in this area and how exorbitant they have become, or how quickly they've grown last 10 years. Coming up on Arthur. The reason I'm going down to Arthur is because driving up here, I followed that, and I realized there are a lot of nice houses up here. And filmed several weeks ago in Helena and last week in Billings, and got into these neighborhoods with some nice houses, and I thought I'd continue on with the theme. let me try not to swing around too fast, too quickly. It's kind of a neat style craftsman with a front porch. And then we're at Grand in Cleveland. And this is what I'm talking about, these sort of classic, not mansions, but just classic old buildings. Large, but not crazy large. The bigger houses tend to be closer to downtown on the south side neighborhood. This is the John Cook Arthur Post residence. I'm not going to talk too much about that stuff, details of it. I'll let you look those up. What I like about this street is there's these really nice houses, well kept, not crazy huge, but it's just a lived-in neighborhood. See some play equipment in backyards and gardens that are created and maintained by individuals, not crews necessarily. Some nice design. Maybe I was down one more. I'm pretty sure this is it. Yep. I have to admit, having all these mature trees, green grass of early summer and foliage, certainly beautifies the area. Coming up on 4th. 4th is a strange little street that probably should have been an alley. It's like they misnumbered the street somehow, and especially if you get further down. And just made 4th into the alley into a street to make up for it. Further down, it's just a really narrow street without an alley between it and the next block. Fifth. I like this place over here too. It's almost like somebody's garden, European garden house over there, that roof. But I believe that's the residence. This might be professionally done. It looks nice. I'm going to swing you around to the left to see a better image of that. When I mentioned the season improving the beauty is because in the winter, all the trees are bare and the gardens are bare and the grass is either covered in snow or brown. And it's a different vibe for sure. Okay, we are going to cross over onto campus here. I'm going to go down a block and then make a left, maybe backtrack. Mainly because I want to show you these dorms. This is kind of the classic old dorms as I think we're on 6th here. Yep. And looks like they're going to redo either the interiors or the roof or both. Doing some sort of work here. Looks like they're redoing some roofing, maybe doing some digging. Oh, looks like they're doing egress windows in the basement. Atkinson Quadrangle. I think today must be a visitation or an orientation day for incoming students to MSU because there's a ton of young people around and summer school classes might be in session, but those are usually not as busy as what I'm seeing today. So we're going to go onto campus. We're going by Hannon Hall, another dormitory, I think. I think what we'll do is make our way through the center of campus and maybe over to 11th. And can we get through here? We're going to go this way. That'll show you the older buildings and the kind of classic old buildings. They've been doing a lot of construction. This is the Native American Center, I believe, which is not completely new, and they're certainly beautifying it and adding a bunch of stuff, which looks like it's going to be great. But can I get through here? Yes. Anyway, it's kind of a neat addition to the campus, in my opinion. of the fraternities, Kappa Sigma. I'm not sure which chapter that is. Oh, here's the other side of the center here. Really beautiful. Well done. I suspect that this little area here is being let or planted or revegetated with primarily native species of grasses and sort of thing. I could be wrong. Maybe they're just not worrying about it because of the construction. In the 23 years I've been here, I came here to go to school, and I spent several years here on campus, taking some undergrad classes to boost my GPA, and taking some graduate classes, getting a degree. And they have built so much since I've been here in the last 20 years, mainly in the last 10 years. They've just brought in a lot of money and built a lot of new buildings and increased, tuition, of course, but also attendance. That's not right. The number of students. Student union off to the left. Bookstore, food, theaters, that sort of thing. Their slogan of the university is mountains and mines. It's one of them. Anyway. I think what do you call that? I think they're pushing 20,000 students. Anyway, student body. Enrollment, that's what I'm thinking of. That's Montana Hall. That's the original building. And it's a land grant institution, which means that the states were allowed or allocated lots of sections of land. This is the main library, renovated library. And the states, I'm not sure they can sell it, but they can use the land, leasing for various activities to generate revenue to pay for public institutions like this, colleges and the like. Reed Hall up ahead on the left. I think that's kind of chemistry. No, that's not chemistry. I can't remember which hall does which, but I do know that off to the right up here will be the Wildlife Sciences and Management Building, not Leon Johnson Hall necessarily, although there's some professors that have offices there. This really is a nice campus. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's got a mixture of really modern, nicely architected buildings designed, and a few 70s relics of sort of, I guess, the last burst of building that will probably be enduring in another 30 years, but what is this one called? Took a lot of classes in this in this school, wildlife, biology, that sort of thing. Loved them. Loved those classes. Lewis Hall, that's right. Kind of a neat, I don't know what style it is, not really Art Deco, but it's sort of looks almost Asian inspired. This road down ahead is 11th. And we're gonna come down here to another little iconic location on campus. And it is the duck pond. Off to across the street is where they have the architecture department, or school architecture, and some other element over there. I can't remember what it is. Little baby duck in the duck pond. A couple of them. It's fun. Not a lot of ducks here. I guess they're over there being fed. We are gonna go this way, I think. Following 11th up, you'll hit Kagi again, and having some fun here. I don't know if that's a TikTok, Instagram thing, or if they're part of what is over here, School of Film and Photography, where I took my grad courses. Anyway, if you kept up on 11th, you would hit on the left would be the Brick Breeden Field House, the indoor arena. And then if you made a left, you'd quickly see, anyway, the Bobcat Stadium. I spent many an afternoon over here loading and unloading film gear at that door. This building was built after I graduated, actually, got my degree. Not to harp on that, I guess. When I was here, they for a long time they disallowed riding your bike on campus, which very few people worried about. And then they decided they hadn't had any reported accidents or problems, so they just said, heck, let's take away that rule that isn't really doing anything unnecessary. A lot of bike racks here. Love seeing that. let's go this way. Like many universities, in the summer they run a lot of camps for kids. This is the old gym. And this is the back of Brick Breeden. It's a student athletic center, recreation center. Brand new. And one of the reasons I think tuition has gone up, and look what they're building over there. Oh, just building, building, building. And I love this. This used to be Grant, and it was a street, a full-on street. And I thought they were just doing construction, which they have done a lot of, but they've also pedestrianized it, which is awesome. I love that. Been doing a lot of landscaping too, which is cool. It'll be fun to see this in a year or two when it's matured. Plants have filled in. Wow. Well, this is interesting too. So, not sure how I'm going to get around here. Guess I'll go right. This whole area was, as I mentioned, a street, and buses, the local free buses, Streamline, would this was a major hub for them, dropping people off. You pick up another line, go downtown, wherever. Looks like maybe they're still going to have a U-shaped access to it, but I'm not sure if that'll still be. Doesn't look like they have room for buses, so I'm not sure where they will relocate that to. That's interesting. Another new building, hall. Not really sure what this is for. I mean, which part of the university is their academic area. New parking garage as well, which is actually pretty nice. They had a lot of parking lots, and this can, with those 2 extra floors, they can remove probably 2 of them, which is nice. Good golly. So this sky bridge here is interesting. The metal lattice on the outside is an interesting design choice. I'm curious if it has a function besides aesthetics. Looks like it would almost be a cool lattice for some kind of plant to grow upon. Good Lord. I have to imagine they're still going to have traffic come through here if they've got at least this section of it, if they've got a parking garage. But I could be wrong. So I think we're on, I want to say 7th, but it could be 8th. My God. I'm sorry to be so exclamatory, but just the amount of building and construction going on here is shocking. I haven't been up here in this part of it in a year or two. But this was all parking lots in here, and looks like they're using it for staging of construction. But what I find a little more concerning is this next fenced area. I don't know if concern is appropriate. Things change. Hopefully for the better. And you can kind of see, look, maybe it's just a temporary construction storage area, but these are the intramural fields, and lots of activities. There's a recreational soccer league in town that at least used to play up here. They may play somewhere else now. And all sorts of stuff. Huge Easter egg hunt on Easter. See the Madison Range in the distance. Snow-capped peaks. Home to Big Sky, Montana, and many a millionaire. Off to the left is the Forestry Services Laboratory, and then up ahead is Campus Police. There you can see Bobcat Stadium. I think they did a multi-million-dollar redo of that recently. And behind is Brick Breeden Field Houses, that big domed structure on the left, not the ones on the right, which are tennis courts. And they have the rodeo there, and basketball, and concerts, and big public events that need to be indoors, or can be indoors. Somebody's out with their dog. Cross over here. 7th. That's what we were on. And here we are back to Kagi, and you can see all those little kids are marching along. You can see the Museum of the Rockies, where we started, about a block further down. I'm going to call it here today for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this walk. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be walking again next week. Not sure exactly where, but maybe another nature trail, since the world is so green and beautiful right now. Until then, I guess. Oh, I was going to say, Facebook group, City Walks Virtual Tours for All. News articles about walking, health benefits, other people's walks, my walks. You guys can join, share, comment, share your own links, etc. So check that out. And then citywalksvirtualtours.com is the website where you can find more of these walks by location and walk time. Until next time, keep on stepping.